Good afternoon. I'll call to order the meeting of the New Ulm Public Utilities Commission for the month of May. The first item on the agenda is notice of conducting the meeting via teleconference, which we are not today. All of the commissioners are present. Next is to consider the minutes from last two meetings.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes of the regular meeting held on April 27th, 2021, and the adjourned meeting held on May 4th, 2021.
I'll second.
Any discussion of the motion? All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Next is to receive our report from our director for monthly utility operations.
Yes, good afternoon, Commissioners. Just a couple items on some projects that are in the works. The wastewater treatment plant pump and diffuser improvement project. The contractor has delivered the diffusers. There are some items that, like we're hearing everywhere, are taking quite a long time to get, but we're waiting for a schedule on that project. The well field, the FEMA project, we just had a conference call today. Looks like the project is close to the final FEMA approval. And so that will come back to us for our final approval, and then we'll have the funds obligated. So we'll be able to go out for bid for that project coming up very soon, probably the next meeting. We are also working on a large industrial steam meter that has some issues, so we're taking care of that. And then also, we have received the draft report from Bolton and Mink, and that has to do with that metal structural review we talked about last month. So we're reviewing the report, and we're also getting quotes on some of the things that we feel are a priority as well. So construction will start on that relatively soon as well. So other than that, if you have any other questions, I can answer them for you.
Chris, I've got a question about, under the gas department, it said checking meters that reported by billing to have no consumption.
Yeah.
I mean, I can see one or two, but how many were there?
I'm not exactly sure. I can get back to you on that, but typically what will happen is we'll have some meters that may be sealed, or there may be some meters that there's just no usage. So it's a normal part of our process. Yeah, all of our utilities will get a report after each cycle for zero consumption, and we'll go out and just double check them, make sure that they're
Okay.
that there's nothing wrong, or that the meter doesn't have to be changed out. Yep.
I'll offer the motion to receive and order filed the report regarding monthly utility operations.
Second.
Any discussion of the motion? All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Next, we want to recognize Dwayne Wendler as our Employee of the Month.
Yes, Dwayne is currently the storeroom operator with the PUC Administration Department. He manages the Material Distribution Center. He has been with the utilities for just about 44 years, so he is a longtime employee. He started out in the gas department, and he moved to the MDC right after we opened it. We had consolidated different parts of inventory into one building, and so he was key in getting that off its feet. He is always clean, orderly, and the process of receiving and issuing out inventory runs very smoothly. Dwayne has worked to make the warehouse inclusive to employees in all departments, and provides a valuable service. He is always looking for ways to improve inventory and safety processes on a daily basis. He's customer-focused and is intent on giving the best possible service to his customers, whether they're outside customers or they're employees from the various departments within the PUC. So I want to thank Dwayne Wendler for his service, and congratulations.
Make the motion to recognize Dwayne Wendler's storeroom operator with PUC Administration Department as Employee of the Month for April 2021.
I'll second.
Any discussion of the motion? All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Same sign. Motion carries. Next, we have a presentation regarding our transmission pole replacement project.
Good afternoon. Okay, yeah, we thought it'd be a good time to, just a little bit of an overview on our pole replacement project, show you what we did, product of all of it. It is not closed out. We're waiting for some turf establishment and some minor things, but we are looking to close that out just as soon as we get the grass to grow. And with the weather lately, we haven't been getting enough rain to get it to come in up to MnDOT specs. Anyway, so first, a little bit of history, why we did what we did. Wishbone poles were constructed from the late 1940s to the early 70s. They had significant decay issues. We never did find a definitive plan set when our wishbone poles were put in. So gives you a pretty big window there. The horizontal pin poles that were built in the early 1980s, those are the ones in the river crossing actually, going over behind the old wash plant. Well, those were the ones right in the river bottom that the woodpeckers liked so well. That gave us some significant issues. So that's why we did what was making us want to do this project. Then we thought we'd just do a couple pictures here. This is an old wishbone pole. You can see kind of the Z structure. You won't see those in New Ulm anymore. They're all gone. And you can see an underbuild there of a distribution line. This is a horizontal pin. This was actually part of the river project prior. You see they just come straight out to the pole. And one of the major structures was the river crossing. We redid that. This is the old configuration. Kind of a guy wire mess, 5-pole structure. And the new one you'll see is quite a bit different. Excuse me. The old little, what we upgraded, old design had several different conductor sizes. Now everything's 550 sticks. We had wood poles, obviously. Now they're all steel, especially going through the river bottom. So woodpeckers won't be liking them. Wishbone and horizontal pin. Now everything is pretty much a small angle horizontal line post is what they call it. Here's what everything cost us. The engineering with the base contract and additional services was $85,700. Construction with a couple of change orders and a little bit of retirement of distribution, all in was $1,295,000 and some change. For the total construction cost, we'll be coming in at $1,380,972.29, and we had budgeted between the 2 years this went over $1.4 million. So we're coming in just slightly under budget. And it's hard to read here, but this would be the river crossing. This is where those horizontal pin poles were. The river, some of the changes to this segment was a 5-pole. Now it's a 3-pole river crossing. There were no bird diverters. The DNR made several comments on plan review and stuff. They wanted bird diverters, so we got them in there. We removed 13 poles and installed 13 poles. The old one had some distribution underbuild that was no longer being used. We bored a underground line to the wells in the north well field many years ago. So that was taken down because it was not needed. And this is the new river crossing. You see it's a 3-pole structure. There's a little better picture of it. See the bird diverters there, the big kickballs there. Now the wash plant area right behind the cement plant, we removed 9. Again, this was all wishbone. The rest of the project was pretty much all wishbone. Installed the new pole steel, like I said, small angle horizontal line posts. The old pole had some 366 conductor. Everything is now 556 conductor. And there was various sizes actually on the distribution Now everything is 336 for distribution. So we've got a standard size. And this is the new poles. And the Highway 15 bridge area, there's a few poles still there. Again, we removed 8, installed 7. They were able to eliminate one span, or one pole. Existing here again was 366. Now it's all 556. And various sizes again for the underbuild. And 556, just so you know, has less line losses than 336 or 366. So actually, we're a little more efficient by upgrading the line size. There's actual going over the roundabout. This does have distribution still under it, but now, like I said, it's all uniform. Then we got a few different things, shots showing how they did it during construction. And this was one I kind of like. I don't think we could have got more people on that pole if we wanted to. So any questions, comments? Just like I say, a quick overview.
Everything went from wood to steel, you said?
Yeah, there's a few wood poles that are just distribution poles, like in wash plant area. Whoop. Our guys actually took the distribution off of this first pole and put a wood pole there. But we can take care of that one.
Yep.
These steel poles, we actually don't have the truck big enough to lift or handle them or whatever. So there's like 3 wood poles on the whole project, but they're only distribution poles.
That'd be nice. We'll get a lot of longevity out of those steel poles.
Hopefully, none of us are worried about it.
Yeah, nice to see the end of the project all done. We've been talking about for
Yes.
how long, years? I
Yeah,
suppose,
well, as long as I've been here, it's more than 5 years, we've been talking in different stages about this, so.
Woodpeckers and squirrels.
The lineman's friend, right?
Yeah.
So,
All right, thank you.
good.
So-
Receive that?
I'll make the motion to receive and order file the presentation on New Ulm's electric transmission system pole replacement project.
I'll second.
Any discussion of the motion? All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Next, we want to recognize Mark Dower. Recent
yes.
retiree?
Yes, Mark Dower is the plant mechanic in the electric production department, and he's been there for more than 30 years he's been there for more than 32 years. Mark started out as a fireman trainee and has worked his way up through the plant, finally ending with the plant mechanic title. He retired from the PUC on May 3rd of this year, so we want to congratulate Mark Dower on his retirement.
Okay, thank you.
Congratulations. I'll make the motion and offer the resolution and waive the reading commending Mark Dower, plant mechanic in the electric production department for more than 32 years of service with the New Ulm Public Utilities Commission.
I'll second.
All right, any discussion of the proposed resolution? Hearing none, we can call the roll.
Commissioner Finland?
Yes.
Commissioner Hillesheim?
Yes.
Commissioner Shaunis?
Yes.
Commissioner Visser?
Yes.
President Heine?
Yes, the resolution passes. Let's see, I'm losing track here. We need to schedule a meeting to review finance, right? Or did I skip one? Yep.
Yeah.
That's right.
That's right.
All right, okay. I was looking at my calendar at the same time. So June 15th is what we're looking at, 3:30?
And that will be mostly a Zoom meeting.
Okay.
The auditors aren't going out in person yet, so they'll present over there. So I will send out that link, and you'll get that link, and you can watch from wherever. Or
Do we need a motion on that, or just we received information that that's what it's going to be?
probably make a motion, I guess, to receive it.
I can. I'll offer the motion to schedule a joint City Council Public Utilities Commission information meeting at 3:30 p.m. on June 15th, 2021 to discuss the audited financial statements for the year ended December 31st, 2020.
I'll second.
Any discussion? All in favor of the motion indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carried. Next is to discuss new radio equipment. Chris?
Yeah, this came from, the utility right now is on an analog radio system. And as you know, most places are going to digital. So we decided to look into what it would cost to upgrade our system to a digital system. We've been told the last couple of years that the radios that we have, some of the analog radios we can't get anymore at all. We can't get parts for them or whatever, so we're just kind of limping along with those. We did buy a few years ago some radios that could go both do analog and digital. We bought those and then we switched them to the analog system. So we've been doing that, but even those now, we're not able to get batteries for and that type of thing. And so we checked with our radio, the radio supplier, and got a quote to upgrade to the digital system. At the same time, the fire and police and street department were discussing the Armor radios. They're the Allied Radio Matrix Emergency Response radios. The city of New Ulm is all on this Armor radio system, so they are all able to talk to each other. The PUC has not been on that system. And so I was involved in some discussions and discussed it with department heads, and we decided that it seemed to us to be to our advantage to actually go to the Armor system along with a police, street, and fire. And so there is it did go to city council. I believe the last meeting, they have approved the purchase of the radios for the fire and police. And we're able to get on a deal through Alpha through the state of Minnesota bid process, where we can get a significant discount off of these radios if we order them. I believe it's by June 11th. And so what we're asking for is to, I guess, approve that we move to the Armor system. This is an unbudgeted item because we hadn't planned on spending it this year. We planned on getting a budgeted number for the 2022 budget, but this all kind of came in at the same time. What we're looking at is the digital system, which is not Armor, was quoted at $100,236.66. And what we would need to do with that is replace 50 radios. We do have some radios, like I said, that are both Armor and digital. We could reprogram them and switch them over to digital. But this system, it would continue to be a standalone system, so it would not talk with a police, fire, or street department. It would be just strictly a PUC frequency, I guess. If we did make the move to Armor, we would be able to utilize about 34 of the radios and miscellaneous equipment that is already that the police and that the fire department already has. Fire department needs to upgrade their radios because the encryption requirements are changing, and so all of their radios need to be replaced. There's many of the radios that they're using currently that we could use. We don't, as a PUC, we don't need encryption, and so they could transfer. We're figuring about 34 of their radios over to us. We would get them reprogrammed, and we could use them. And the benefit of that would be that we would be able to allow to spread the purchase of the radios over a couple budget cycles. So we wouldn't have to go out and spend $100,000 all in one year. We could budget it through maybe 2 or 3 budget cycles and then get everybody switched over. They're also offering, Motorola is offering a discount of 5% on top of the discount from the state bid on any large volume purchases. So the county, actually the entire county is looking at putting in orders for these Armor radios. So it would be a very large purchase, and we would get, an additional 5% off on that. And again, this would allow us to communicate with all the departments within the city. And so the actual, like I said, the switch to digital was quoted at about $100,236. We're looking at spending this year about $30,900, mainly through the electric fund, because in switching radios around, the electric has the most radios. And so we were able to just have all the same radios in certain departments, so it worked out well. I believe that in calculating out what it would cost to replace everything, we would be looking at an additional $122,000. So it is a bit more expensive to do the armor project. However, I think it would be advantageous to the utility to be able to have the ability to speak to fire and police and street department. So I guess that's what we're asking you to authorize. The other option, of course, would be, to wait until the next budget season.
So Chris, what kind of useful life does this equipment have? Like, are we looking every 5 years,
Well, it's similar to technology. What we're finding is the radios themselves last a long time. It's the batteries that end up. And so the previous analog system we had was 20 years. So I would think that out of the armor, we would get, at least 10 to 15 years. And yeah, Chris, maybe you have more information on that.
So Motorola technically supports the radios for about 7 years, or actually expects a useful life to be 7 years. Then they support that radio for an additional 3 years after that. And so that's the issue that police and fire are running into now, is they're no longer supported. Battery life and parts are being harder to find. So even the equipment that the fire department is going to give to the utilities is at the end of its kind of life. And so they're going to put together the radios that have the best battery life on them, so you can squeak out, maybe an additional 1 or 2 years. But replacing them with parts or finding additional batteries is going to be, the issue at the end of the day. So being part of the county, being the fiscal agent, having some of the newer radios come on, you start that new life cycle of the 7 years of useful life, and then the 3 years of additional support. And the reason the police can't give their radios to the utilities is that the utility needs to have intrinsic radios, which means they're slightly different because they have to go in hazardous environments. They don't want sparks and things of that nature. And that's why fire is able to give those radios over to the utilities.
Yeah, it would be the intent of us to replace all of the hand-me-downs that we're getting from fire within the next couple of years, to have all new radios.
And then second question, just as background, what are the primary uses that we have for the radios?
Well, it's
Because there's a lot of them.
It's their
get a
basic
gauge.
communication. It's, when they're working in the field, that's how they contact each other in the field. Our employees don't all have cell phones, and it's not appropriate to probably use just cell phones. When you have a radio, they can speak, and everybody within the crew can hear. So that's one thing. Same within the power plant. Those radios are the main communication within the plant to get a hold of somebody, to hear alarms, things like that. And then in the case of emergency, that's one of the things. We had to buy 10 armor radios back when fire and police and everybody switched over to the armor system, because we had if there was an emergency, if we had a weather-related issue or incident, we'd have no way of communicating with them. So we purchased 10 of those radios just to be able to communicate with fire and police. So this way we'll be able to do that now with the current radios that we have, and maintain the service that we need.
Will there be a similar quantity bought next year? I mean, you're trying to do it in equal sizes, or will there be a larger purchase in one of the out years than the other?
There might be a little bit larger purchase if we were to split it out, by 3 years, it's, you're looking at maybe about or you're looking at about $60,000 a year. I think it's going to really be dependent on the condition of the radios that are handed down. As long as they're working and we have good battery life on them, we can get a couple years out of them. Some batteries that we're getting from Fire, they just there's like 20 batteries that they just received about a year ago. And so those obviously will have a much longer life, and those will probably be the last to replace. Okay. These radios are, however, a little bit bigger and a little bit bulkier than what the guys are used to using right now. So that might prompt a little faster replacement too, but.
And then last question I had is from who requires a radio? Do we periodically do an evaluation to make sure that the radios are in the right people's hands?
Yes.
I mean, I know at companies, certainly companies I've been a part of before, we handed out cell phones like there was no tomorrow, and some people would use their cell phone twice a year, and some people would use it twice an hour.
Yeah, that the department head typically is responsible for that, but we did look at that prior to putting together a plan, and there are some departments that decided they didn't need quite as many, but I think like the electric department and the gas department, just because of the nature of their work, it was important for them to have the ability to communicate. So.
Right. And safety obviously comes first.
Yes, absolutely.
It's usually the administrative roles where there's usually less use, is what we always found.
Well, and one of the things we were able, we basically did cut out most of them. I have one in my office. I don't know, in the time that I've been in the job, I've picked it up, and so we're not replacing that. And we have several base units also. Those base units, which are more expensive, are actually going to be replaced with just a radio that people the front office staff can just have at their desk. So we did analyze that and make sure that it was cost effective to have, who was supposed to have it, and it's in the proper hands, yeah.
Perfect, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll make the motion and authorize the New Ulm Public Utility staff to purchase unbudgeted Allied Radio Matrix Emergency Response, or ARMOR, radios for interoperability purposes in the amount of $30,903.32.
I'll second.
Any discussion on that motion? All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. That motion carried. Next, we have discussion of the roof replacement at the water treatment plant.
Good afternoon. Last year, we looked at the two flat roofs we have in our water plant. It's not immediately obvious to everybody that we have two flat roofs because we've got several steep peaked roofs on our building, but there are two flat roofs. One is on what I call the east end of the building, where we have chemical rooms underneath it and where we have a garage area. We replaced that one last year, and we went out for bids for that, and the work was done very quickly, and we were happy with the job, and we came in under budget. This year we're replacing, I see it says in here the west end of the building, but it's really in between two peaked roofs, and that's over our filter gallery, which is a little more problematic in that if we have leaks come in there where rainwater could fall into our treatment process, there'd be some issues. We can deal with them, but the state of Minnesota would rather we didn't have those issues to start with. So when we got bids for both jobs last year, we just did the east roof. So we went out and rebid, and we still were able to come in with the bids under our budget. Well, at least one of the companies was under the budget. We had budgeted $40,000, and the GOG Sheet Metal's bid was $39,250. That allowed for their increased costs. Everybody's costs went up this year and last year. I was pleased to see that it came in still under budget. And so I'm asking you to approve this project and allow the city manager to sign the contract for $39,250. The roof is 28 years old. Flat roofs, you expect about a 20-year life.
I'll make the motion to authorize the city manager to sign the GSM acceptance page for the replacement of the flat roof on the west end of the water treatment plant at a cost of $39,250.
I'll second.
Any discussion? All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Pose same sign. Motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you. And now for GIS Migration Services. Is that Dan?
Yeah, this is a proposal to hire PSE to help migrate both our gas and electric to the utility network, which is a model within an ESRI. What it is slowly they're upgrading ESRI to have more functionality, be able to do quite a bit more things. As with any software, the next version does all kinds of new things, but now we got to do an upgrade. This will start allowing the utility to do things like tracing. So if we had an outage, we could trace who all was affected. We might be able to, there will be things that we can do as trace or follow where certain parts are located. It's the beginning of being able to do a little bit better modeling too, because this will export much better into our windmill models and stuff, which allows us to do, or our consultants actually, to do flow studies and all that for the electric part, and also for the gas. This will go into some of their other modeling software that some of the consultants use for our gas model. So again, it's pretty much a software upgrade. Well, it's not really a software upgrade. It's asking for more manpower to take care of this, because as Director Mandefeld said, the electric department's the biggest department. They're the biggest with the most equipment, so they get to be a real headache and a lot of equipment to migrate into a new system such as this. And gas is not that far behind. And gas has a lot of Office of Pipeline Safety rules, so they want you to track certain items within there. And this will start helping us electronically track it rather than using the old paper way of doing things. So if you got any questions.
I don't.
I'll offer the motion to authorize the city manager to accept the proposal from Power System Engineering, Inc. for GIS Migration Services for the gas and electric utilities in the amount of $65,000.
I'll second.
Is there any discussion of that motion? All in favor indicate by saying aye.
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 Pose same sign. Motion carries. And then pipe tech software. Dan again.
Yep. Now this one is just a software upgrade, but again, this is going to allow our wastewater videos. Many years ago, utility bought a camera truck. We have videos on a server now. This will allow those videos to be available through the GIS. So basically you'll be able to, or like city engineering or one of our consultants or anybody will be able to click on a pipe, and then there'll be a link on there where they can click on the video so they can see to do an assessment of the pipe in order to decide, do we need to replace this one or not? Because, you know, there's about 80 miles of pipe, and we're always trying to get the best return on our investment. And this is just allowing us to do more of a desktop analysis of what's going on, readily available, than having it buried in it's kind of hard to get the stuff now unless you go through staff and ask them what you want, and, you know, it gets to be quite a process. This will allow us to have it right at our fingertips. And from now on, all the pipes will be, or the videos will be directly linked and brought in. So this will be kind of a one-time fee, but then we have to pay our yearly maintenance fee to keep it going, but it won't be the $10,000 again.
What did we have in the budget for this project? Do we know?
You know, it's in a maintenance account.
I don't think we had an actual number, so it's kind of a maintenance line item, if I remember right. We've been talking about doing this and trying to
Yeah.
investigating this
It's
for
part,
quite
it's,
some
the
time.
account number is the collection expense. So it would be like from the sewer trucks and the sewer, that type of thing. So it's within that account.
Okay, so it's just part of an expense account, not
Yeah,
a,
it's an
not a
expense
capital.
account. It's not capital.
Okay.
No, just an expense.
I'll make the motion to authorize the city manager to accept a quote from Flexible Pipe Tool Company for the software upgrade to the pipe deck system in the amount of $10,594.
I'll second.
Is there any discussion of that motion? All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. More software for finance.
Yes, the finance server is needing to be replaced due to age and software that's nearly out of support. And so this is just to replace that. There was $18,000 budgeted for the software, and we received 2 quotes. The amount is from SHI International Corp., and it's in the amount of $14,704.
I'll offer the motion to authorize IT staff to accept the quote from SHI International Corp. for Microsoft SQL Server Standard 2019 licensing in the amount of $14,704.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Surplus property in the water department.
Yeah, there is some equipment that is no longer needed. You can see the value there. The water heaters have a value of $500 for the pair of them, and the other 2 items have scrap value. These will be listed on GovDeals auction site to see if we can potentially get some money for them.
I'll offer the motion to declare water department equipment as surplus property and authorize disposition pursuant to the requirements of the city code and charter.
I'll second.
Any discussion of the motion? All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. And then finally, we have our claims and estimate, or claims for the month.
I'll make the motion to consider acceptance of list of claims paid in the amount of $2,576,598.21.
I'll second.
Any discussion? All in favor indicate by saying aye.
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 Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. And so we see each other again, that June meeting comes before our next meeting, right? That June, what did we say? June
Yes.
15th. By Zoom. Right, okay. Anybody have any other comments? If not, we're adjourned.